Now, our school has 5 different departments. And the first department is my department, Department 1, which is for education in the wholesale and foreign trade business. So all the students here have made contracts with wholesalers. And then the departments 2, 3, and 4 are for retailers. And there it depends on what kind of goods they sell. So there are retailers for food, there are retailers for books, there are retailers for medical equipment, whatever, right? And so you can find the different things here. For instance, in Department 2, you find the whole clothes, dresses, things like that. These shops are represented here. And then the 5th department is the smallest one, but this department has a different task. These students are here and try to pass their A-level. So on their previous education, they put 3 more years and try to pass their A-level so that they can go to university. Okay? They come from difficult backgrounds, problem is family problems, whatever. And these students, also students with a migrant background, and these students have lots of problems. One of their problems is that they do not speak German well enough. Their mother tongues, by the way, are also not spoken perfectly enough. That's the next problem. Both languages are lacking. Yes, there are problems in both languages. Then, very often they have problems in other subjects too. They're not good at mathematics, not good at reading and writing, and the companies are not willing to hire them. Sometimes, of course, there's also a prejudice background, yes? Because if somebody applies for a job and his name is Muhammad, I don't know, yes? Then this is an application, and the other application is from Fritz Werner, and then they say, okay, we take Fritz Werner. Because there we know what we have. Muhammad, we don't know what we have and what we will get. And this, of course, is true. And so then, these companies very often are disappointed with Fritz Werner. And after the half year where they have their trial period, they sack him. But they need somebody. And then they call us. And they say, look, you have got your 3 years full education, full school education. Don't you have anybody who could come to our company? And then we go into our classes. And here we have these classes which do not have a contract with their companies, which come to us 3 years full-time. Okay? And they have some practice ships in between, about 4 months, but the rest of the time they're here at school and we teach them, and they receive the same education than those who have a company and with a more theoretical background. You will see some of these students later. And then we go into these groups and say, okay, here we have somebody who could do the job, and we ask him to apply at that company, and maybe his name is also Muhammad. And so he goes to the company and applies for the job, and then the company says, wow, good boy. And Muhammad is being taken, right? So you see, that's interesting. So we work at all the different sites and try to, the herbal tea.
Oh, tea for two.
Tea for two. This is
Marianne,
one.
call it.
Number one. Yes, and you were number 2, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much.
Sugar? No sugar?
That's fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, now. Good. So you see, we have also students which we have here for 3 years. and they have no companies, they can apply here and they can get their education at our schools, right? Good.
So they would be the ideal candidates to come on placements abroad, because we would take them.
That's it. And I talked to these students today, and I have quite a lot of students who are interested, and they are going to come at 11 o'clock to our to another room where we call it trainings room, where students, you know, I think in your country it is detention room. Something like that. I saw it in England, a thing like detention room. I liked it very much. Yes, I liked it very much. I tried to install it here, but my teachers were quite critical about the name detention room.
Yeah. They're very good. I'm glad they didn't like it.
So that's why that's why I called it in German it is Besinnungsraum, and I called it like you go there and think about your behavior. And this is
they call it in German. I have the German translation they have for it is reflection room. I think that's
reflection.
It's a much nicer room than detention.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. It was reflection which I couldn't think of at that moment. Good. And then the teachers accepted that room, but then on top of that we also have the trainings room idea. That is that you talk to the students when they come here, and you implement rules, and you say which are the rules which we need to have a good learning atmosphere and a good social atmosphere. And then the students themselves write down the rules, and the rules are then in the classrooms. And then the teachers can say, if somebody does not stick to the rules, which rule is it you haven't obeyed to? And then the student says, oh, none of them. Good. Now, if you do not obey to that rule, or if you repeat this behavior, you have decided for yourself to go to the training room. And then if they repeat this behavior, then the teacher doesn't say, you go there, but he says, you have decided to go there. That's your decision. So you go there. And then they go there, and in this room they find a teacher, and the teacher will hear the student, and mostly the students say, Mr. Cockles knows this very well, I'm not guilty, it was the teacher. He's so unfair to me, and blah, 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 blah. And then the teacher in the training room says, okay, write down what you did, and write down what you are going to do to change the situation, to convince the teacher that he will teach you again, that he will let you come into the group again. And then they have to write a Rückholplan. So this is the plan to come back to the classroom. And the teacher then has to read this plan, and the teacher has two possibilities. He can either say, yes, I'm going to take you back, or no, this is not enough.
So I don't want to be devil's advocate, or could be that if, I'm a teacher as well, so
yeah.
I think I'm a reasonably good teacher, but I had bad days in my life as well. So it could happen that I might have offended really a student with my own behavior, and then they talk back to me, and because I had a bad day, I said, check out rule number 7, and he goes, but in the end of the day, if I'm honest, I contributed with my behavior to the situation. So is there a plan as well that I reconcile as a teacher as well about what contributed to the situation, that maybe Ahmed left the room again the 5th time in this week? So is there something on both sides, because they're adults, so they're not children, so I'm just wondering.
Yes, it's a good point you made. Yeah. And I often think that teachers very often are the reason.
Not the sole reason, but
no,
it's an interaction with each other. There's a dynamic, you know.
Yes.
If I have a dynamic with David, And I'm playing with his dynamic, and I'm the older one, then,
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
I know how to press his button as well, if I know him very well.
One of the most problematic things is that the teachers here at this secondary education have the idea that they are here to teach a subject. They have the idea that that the educational thing is not what they are. This is not what they should do. This is what should have been done 10 years ago at school, in their parents' homes. This is where it should have been taken place. And their only task is to prepare them for the final exam, to give them the information they need, to give them the knowledge. Now, when I talk to my teachers, I always say, okay, but how can you teach somebody who's not going to listen to you? How can you teach somebody with your level, on your level, but these students are here? So first of all, you have to find out, where are they? Where can I get them? Where is the point where I can find a connection, where I can find some way to communicate with them? Otherwise, it is not possible.
So you're head of department, right?
I'm head of department.
So you help the teachers to come to terms about the levels of interaction.
Right.
Okay.
I'm head of this department here, and I've been doing this job now for more than 3 years. And before I was a teacher here at this school. I'm here at this school since 1998. And before I taught at German Hauptschule in Berlin, which is the class 7 to 10, with students with very special needs. So they are the ones...
All levels, guys. It's
yes,
all levels.
They are the ones who
it's not
come
GCC.
from very, very difficult backgrounds. And for 20 years I taught there, and this gave me a lot of experience. So that's why I'm quite... well, should I say successful? But I know how to deal with these problems, and I can give advice, and I can give help. And I always see that it is not teaching facts. You cannot teach facts, or you cannot teach anything before you don't have this student with you. He and she, they have to come, be with you. They have to follow your every word, have to not be afraid to ask, I don't understand. What are you talking about? What is this? Because, you know, also the language level is very different from teachers and students. Yes? Teachers usually watch news. Students don't watch any news. So they don't know anything about it. Yes? Teachers talk about scientific things or economic problems. And as you know, the Greek problem with the euro, and the students think, what is he talking about? But I know that I have got an appointment with my friend in 5 minutes. He's going to send me an SMS. And he's looking at his mobile phone. You know, he doesn't understand anything about what the teacher said. So that's the problem. But I think that's a worldwide problem.
No, I'm just, because we're here, we just want to know, I mean, I think it's good if you're head of department, you are helping your teachers to, because we can't exclude here, so to help them to understand how to change their methodology of teaching or engaging. Yes. Because obviously if you have a lot of experience and you know what to share. Yes. And it has something to do with years of doing the job actually, which is good when it's like that. Yes,
actually, that's true. You want to say something?
Yeah, you see, with your reflection room, the pupils have an opportunity to write down how they would make changes, and then it's up to the teacher to decide if they take them back or that. How common is it for teachers to say, actually, that's not enough, and no, I don't want you back?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
Very rarely. Normally they take them back at once. But in some cases, we had one case just recently, the student said a very bad word to the teacher. Yeah. And the teacher said, now you leave, you have decided to go to the room, you leave. And the student didn't even write down that she did something wrong or that she would apologize. She wrote, I don't know why she sent me out of the classroom, I don't know what I did. And then the teacher said, no, I'm not going to teach you
Until you can reflect.
Until you know what you
But
have to
that's all,
do.
literally.
And then if a student goes to this room for three times, then after 3 times we have a so-called class conference, where all the teachers who teach this student come together. And then they say what might be wrong with the student, how they could help him, which measures they should take to improve his behavior. And so this little class conference is very useful, because then the student is there with all the teachers who teach him and the representatives of his class, the Schülersprecher.
Oh, you have to understand, okay.
Yes.
In every class has a speaker. The kids have
Yes.
they have a speaker, a school speaker from their peers.
Yes.
Though this representative of the students will be
Yes.
there as well. There's elected representative.
They are elected, yes.
So it is not someone the school puts in place. The kids elect the representative.
Yes. And these representatives are also there when the class conference takes place, and they can say something for the students. A student, they can say, yes, but you know, he has lots of problems, and we find that he's a nice guy, and although he did this and that, you know. And so then we talk about this student, and we try to find measures to help him. And there are different kinds of measures, you know. For instance, if people come too late, we add up the time that they come too late, and then we say, this is time which belongs to us. We own this time because it is paid, it's being paid. So now, this time, you have to stay here in another group, or you have to help us to clean the grounds, or whatever. And then, you know, we make a list. This person has already added up 2.5 hours with coming too late. So 2.5 hours, they have to do something.
But yeah, that's quite good, because I think it's appreciating that education costs some money. That the teacher is not coming for free.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
I think that's nice. I have to say another. I because my young people.
Yes.
That's good.
And on top of this, there's another measure we take. You know, in these classes which we have here full time, they are these students. You know, they stand in front of the classroom. You open the door. They go into the room. They start talking with their classmates, and and the teacher thinks, when do they sit down? When do they finally take out their books? Come on, sit down. Take out your books. Come on, be quiet. Now we can start. 10 minutes gone. Out of 90 minutes, 10 minutes gone. And then these students, because they always have experienced this kind of behavior, they think this is normal. But we have other groups. We have these groups which work with companies. And in these groups, the behavior is completely different. You come, the students stand before the door, you open the classroom, they go and sit down, take out everything, and then in no time, 2 minutes, they are prepared to start. Because, you know, they want to pass their test at the end of the 3 years.
But that's just like you have a motivation. I mean, it's very difficult to put, because this is why we do the live streams project. If you're sitting in a school and you don't know really why you sit there, and you don't have a target, something you really want to achieve in life, I mean, maybe I was a bad student, I wouldn't bother. So you only bother and do all the work you need to do when you know why you have to do it. So I think if a young person doesn't have this is what we found out, if a young person doesn't have this target, which makes sense to their life, which doesn't mean maybe nothing to me, but a lot to them.
Yes.
We have seen them working like mad. I mean, in England we have seen people dyslexic studying English like if there is no tomorrow. And they speak English now. And people would, and very good actually, and people said no, they wouldn't even think that he could speak English. Now they speak English despite having a learning difficulty. So, but they had to do all the hard work, but they only do it because they see why.
But there's also the issue of learned behaviour, and you kind of become accustomed to the culture in which you belong.
Absolutely.
So obviously, if that's a standard that's set by their, you know, working outside, and that you become accustomed to behaving appropriately in accordance with the norms of that group. And so if they have a group that comes in and they typically don't start until 10 minutes after they have a little social gathering, then that's the behaviour they'll take with them forwards. It's about the training, which is good.
Yes, yes. So that's why for students who, for instance, come too late, we take them into the groups where the behavior is different, where they can see, open the classroom, sit down and listen to the teacher immediately. So this is giving them a big surprise, because they didn't know that this kind of behavior could be normal. Yes? So that's a good idea, but you should not put a group into this other class. Only individuals.
Yeah.
You put them like an individual in this class. Yeah, that's always interesting, because they come in and then the group sees something wrong with his behavior, and they say, "Come on, sit down.
Yeah.
Don't disturb our lesson."
Mm.
And this is not the teacher who said it. This is another student. And so you see that this is quite a good idea. Many ideas, and always you have always to be creative. Might be there are more ideas you develop from the moment, yes, out of the situation.
So I think the most what worked for us in London is like I found it always very difficult as a teacher, probably to discipline really harsh, because I said it's like enforcing something on another person to such a degree that I feel it's almost volatile towards them.
Yeah.
So I said, let's have them motivated, that they start doing their stuff they need to do anyway. So I think motivation for me is the key, because I have a learning difficulty and I'm a director of an organization, so I know how to overcome it.
Yeah.
So I have a mild form of dyslexia, but I had to do so much reading and writing in order to be there where I am now.
Yeah, yeah.
But I knew always what I wanted to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I think that's missing, that you haven't got the space and the allowance to discover what you want to do. So then you find the power inside of yourself to do the work which is needed. Because I find it really difficult to discipline people overly, let me say it like that, to force them, because I think it's not right. It gives the wrong energy.
Understand about the freedom.
Yes,
But of course I discipline people, but I don't. It's a fine line. I don't know what you think.
Well, first of all, the whole education is voluntarily. So the students who apply for this do this because they want it. Very often they don't know why they want it. They want it because their cousin was here. They want it because they know somebody who was here, right? And because it is very close to their home. So it is only a 10 minutes walk to this school. So there are many reasons. Because then it is better than doing work at a company for 8 hours. It's better to stay here for 6 hours. Many, many reasons. But it is voluntarily. But the first half year is where they are tested whether they can stay or not. So this period, then they try to tear themselves together. Now this period is over. In January it was over.
Mayhem starts.
Now, just yesterday I talked to the 4 class teachers, actually 8 teachers, with these first learners, and they told me that the situation is terrible. The students don't want to come, they don't want to do their homework, they are not interested, blah, blah, blah. All this what we need. Now, we are taking measures and tell them what they are allowed and not. And you have to be strict. There are, especially with boys, there are some scientific research has been done, and they found out that especially boys do what the peer group does. They are not interested in what the teacher does. They also in the classroom very quickly find a sort of peer group. And one boy says, reading is not cool. Okay, then even if you like reading, you wouldn't say that you like reading. Because the boys in this group say reading is not cool. And disturbing the lesson is cool. So now you have to disturb the lesson. Then they found out that boys need absolutely strict rules. Because if you say to a group, now look, we have finished this text, you can work on. you can answer the questions. You can read on a little bit because you liked it. The girls understand, we have to do this. And they will read and they will answer. If you look into the primary school, you will find this. For the boys say the teacher said can. So he didn't say must.
So we've got a choice.
He didn't say must. So when the mothers ask, is there any homework? The girls will say, yes, 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 we have to read, we have to answer the questions. And the boys will say, no homework. And this means that the boys have bad chances because the boys do not learn what the girls learn. So the situation in Germany is that we have more A-level students, girls, than boys. Yes. And more students who go to university, girls than boys. Because girls have a strategy to understand can means it's good if you do it, and boys understand no must.
Just you have to lighten it a little bit.
There are two points.
I think the light was much more because they start to work out of
there could be a chance that by having the assumption, well, obviously there are studies done, I read a study that was done with ethnic minority boys at primary school level, black boys, and teachers were under the assumption that because they were going to be naughtier, they had to be stricter with them in the first instance, and what that did is then it kind of enhanced the problem more, because because there were not the same expectations in that sense. And so
we know that this is also true.
So that not kind of putting
yes. We know that this is also true, that teachers, when they show it, and you know that students are very intelligent.
Excuse me?
Yes.
My colleague would need to use the bathroom.
Yes. No problem. It's behind the glass door.
Francisco versteht alles, ich verstehe die Hälfte. Kostet alles noch? Nein.
Ich erzähle Ihnen alles auch nachher nochmal. Wir haben Zeit. Well, to the program, I just tell to the program, until 11 o'clock we are here, then at 11 o'clock, one half of the group can go to a classroom where the teacher and the students are waiting for you. And these are students which have their 3 years education here at the school, and they are in the second year now, and they are, the subject they teach today is BPDV, which is the abbreviation for Computer Animated Model Firm. You know, you have a model company, and with your computers the teacher gives you tasks, and you have to buy and sell and things like this. And today they have sort of a team session, I don't know what they are doing, you can ask them. And these students are my English students, so you talk English to them and, and make them see that English is really spoken. Not only by me. So, best regards from Mrs. Hall. Good. This is one group, and the other half group goes to the trainingsroom, where the students who are interested to come to England will come, and they can ask you questions. You can answer the questions, and you can talk to them and see them.
All right.
So that you have an impression of these students. They are also in the 3-year system, and they are the ones who have just finished their first half year and are now in a low motivation phase. Yes, but you can see them. Most of them will be Turkish, I think. Yes, Turkish students, because we have a huge Turkish community. Right? And then at 12 o'clock we go to our cafeteria, where you can you are invited to have a meal with me, and you can choose whatever you like, right, from our cafeteria offers, right? And then when we have our lunch, we can talk, and I can ask you many questions, because I'm so interested in, you know, I'm a curious person. So I have to ask you many questions.
Have you
And-
been to England?
I've been to England many times. I have loads of relatives.
She's
in
very
England.
nice. Yeah.
Yes, because my husband is from Bangladesh,
Oh,
and
okay.
you know that loads of Bangladeshis
Yeah.
are in England,
Yeah.
right?
So
If you go to London to this East London,
Yeah.
and there are some shopping centers for only Pakistani,
Yeah.
Indian, and
Yes.
Bangladeshi people.
Yeah.
And when my relatives take me to these places, and then I wait for them to come back from their food shopping there, and then I stand there and I think, oh, look, I'm the only white person here. Okay. And the interesting thing was, you know, the most interesting thing, you learn from your children, yeah? You learn from your children. Now, we have 2 children, my husband and me, and of course we had loads of visitors from Bangladesh, all from England, who are Bangladeshi. So, and whenever they came to our house, we spoke English.
Okay.
And when our daughter was very little, she started speaking English because she imitated us, and she created beautiful English sentences. And then when she was 8, I went to England with her first time. We have been to England before by car, but then I went to England by plane. And when we came to, I think we came to Heathrow Airport, and you know, there you see loads of colored people. And we came into the big hall, and then Joya's my daughter's name. Joya said to me, "Now we are in England." And I say, "Yes." And I say, "How do you know?" Because here are the colored people. The English people are colored people. Because for her, it was absolutely clear that British English people, from her experience, could only be colored people. Yes? And then they're at Heathrow Airport with all the... And then I thought, oh wow, I've forgotten to tell her that the original British person was white. Okay, I then told her about the whole system.
Did you find it confusing?
And yes, but now she,
Now she
of
gets
course she
it.
knows,
Yeah.
yes. She learned English in England, and yes, so that's very interesting. So I've been to England many times, yes.
I just,
Yes. You tried all the rooms.
I just,
But you were successful, you found.
Mrs. Horn,
Yes.
I know
Somebody
you,
else for the okay.
I know you don't mean it bad, but
Yes,
I just give you, because you're such a lovely person.
Yes, please.
You speak about black people in England. You either call them black and ethnic minorities, but not colored.
Oh, what do you say then?
Actually it's something from the old. It's a word, because we
What
all
do
have
you
a
say,
color.
black people?
Black people, yeah.
You say black
Africans.
Oh,
Ethnic minorities.
Oh, ethnic minority. Thank you
Yeah.
for telling me. Well,
So
I'm
we
going
can
to
tell
say
people-
it to my husband tonight.
Yeah,
I tell
because
him
you
he's
would say
black.
the Africans originally, or Asians, or
Yes, yes, Asian.
or if you have someone with mixed race, they're mixed heritage.
You say
Like if
yes.
one
You
parent.
say ethnic minorities.
Ethnic minorities, because colored is a word they used for slaves.
Ah, I see.
I'm mixed race,
Yes.
Irish, Scottish.
I'm very mixed as well.
Yes,
So
mixed race.
the
Yes.
people could look a bit funny at you when you say this.
Okay,
Just
okay.
because you're so lovely, I said, but I
Yes,
tell
that's
you.
thank you very much. You have to do that. You have to do that.
I'm
So it is no problem if I say black people.
black, no? What's wrong about being black?
Yes. You corrected me at once. I heard that. You corrected me. And I thought that something was wrong. You know, if I say to my husband he's black people, then he will be very angry.
But
Because
he's Asian, isn't he?
the Asian people,
Yes,
and
okay.
I don't know, but it is, you know, they think the whiter the skin is, the more beautiful a person is.
But
yes?
that's their own racism, isn't it?
Yes, because he always talks of his mother and says she was a very beautiful person, and I thought that was true because I liked her very much, and she was a beautiful woman. And the reason why my husband says she was a beautiful woman is that her skin was so
Pale.
pale, yes.
This is how
And
we
then,
ended up with
and then I always think, okay. And when I was in Bangladesh, all my nephews surrounded me whenever a glimpse of the sun came to me, because they wanted to keep my skin white. No sun, because no,
Very
you know.
Victorian.
Victor, so, but I think that's, you see what, I mean, I think it's very interesting probably as well for the young people if they come to London because London is probably one of the most multicultural places you can find. We have 156 different ethnic groups. When we sent groups to Berlin for exchange programs, we were told I sent the United Nations, because usually every kid has a different set of parents.
Yeah.
And there is not such a thing like what is it, because you look very, James looks probably as English as you would think, but he said he's a nice mixed version of Irish and everything together, so there is not such a thing in a way.
No.
I mean, Leo's grandparents are from Ireland, Irish as well.
Mm.
So the Britishness means to be anything. So, and this multicultural thing is very fascinating for people.
This is the same thing here in Berlin. So, you know, when my daughter grew up and she was 17 and she wanted to go to the disco, and you know the disco started at 11 at night.
Clubbing, actually.
So I said, okay, I'll go, I'm taking you there, and at 3:30 I will be there in front of the door and you will have to come out.
Oh,
and this is what always worked beautifully. And then I did not only have my daughter, mother German, father Bangladeshi, no, there was her girlfriend Hannah, father from Germany, mother from Japan, then there was Cha, she is Vietnamese, and then there was Katarina, father from Serbia, mother from Berlin. So these were the typical Berlin girls. Yes, and this is so the same thing. These are the Berlin girls, right? We don't have this mixture in the eastern part of Germany, because very long, for 40 years there was a kind of isolation, and a mixture in this form was not possible.
But we have a less African population. That's the nature of not having this number of colonies. So we have lots of intermarriages or mixed heritage children from, let me say, European-looking parents. So it doesn't strike you that much. So, but when they come to England, they see all, you know, mixed heritage children where one parent is African or Afro-Caribbean. So that's a difference. So, and I think in London we have everyone.
Yes, you
it's
have.
Like the colours of Benetton.
The same colour of Benetton.
Yeah. So that's nice for lots of young people who really stick out because one of their parents is African. When they come to London, they really feel cozy, they feel really home. I've never seen so many people working in very respectable jobs, being their ethnic origin, and having so many schoolmates looking like them. And it's very, I think it's, many said this is very nice experience for them to come to London.
Also,
Manchester, Liverpool is lovely.
All of them.
Yeah, it's very nice.